Welcome to this tutorial. This is going to be the first section, or let me say the first episode of the Alight Motion tutorial. My name is Khalil and you are welcome to this tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be looking at the concept of Alight Motion. So if you don't know what Alight Motion is, it's an app. Alight Motion is basically an application that allows us to create stunning motion graphics with our phone and our creativity. So if you are someone that is familiar with the workspace of Adobe After Effects, Alight Motion is just like a mini version of After Effects, but on your mobile phone. So in this course, in this tutorial, if you are a beginner, this tutorial is going to introduce you to understand better what Alight Motion does and how it works. So Alight Motion works on both Android and iOS. It works on both Android and iOS. So you can go to your Google Play Store and App Store and you can get Alight Motion app from there. So if you've the first installation, you'll be required to use your internet connection, because if you download it for the first time, this plus button, you might see this interface that I am seeing right now, but this plus button might not work for you. So you have to switch on your internet connection, then they will give you some concept, then you agree, then everything starts working properly. So let's dive in. So you can see I have some buttons beneath here, and these are what works Alight Motion's work. So you can see the tutorials there. If I'm connected to internet, I will see a lot of tutorials. Well, meanwhile, you can go through the ones they added on top here. You can go through it there. Now your projects, this one will list all the projects you have done in Alight Motion. Alright, this is going to be where you are going to list that, and then template as well. You can also get templates from Alight Motion, and if you have an XML file that is a video, or let me say an animation that has been done, but it is shared as an XML file, you can open it in Alight Motion. So in this recent videos, I'm going to be explaining how everything works. So I'm going to click on this plus icon, and I'm going to create a new project. So you can specify the size: 16 by 9, 9 by 16, 4 by 5, 1 by 1, 4 by 3. So I used to go to I prefer 16 by 9. So I'll say intro. You can give it the name. Now the resolution, if you are using the free version, you won't have access to some resolution here. I'm using the pro version, so I'm going to teach you how to get the pro version in the later video. If it is not in the video, in recent videos, I'm going to show you how you can get the pro version. Now in the pro version, you can only have access to this 1080 pixels, but in free version you only have 720 pixels and below. So to make it easier, let me choose 720, and the frames per second, if you are using the free version, you can only get up to 30 frames per second, but the paid version will give you up to 60 frames per second. So you can change the background later on. So let's click on create project. You can see now here we are in Alight Motion. So you can see we have different buttons here. We have the play button, you have the backward, the forward. Now this one, if I click on it, you can see you have this option. You can see it is still default out. So by the time we start working on it, you will still see different things on that. Now there are some tools that we can't explain in a single video. We have to pick them one by one and explain them in details, because they're not something that you can rush. So I'm not going to speak too much on them, because there are going to be videos on them one by one. So now, as you can see here, you can check the bottom right corner. You see this plus button. You see that you can add a lot of things. You have shapes, you have some pre-installed shapes. If you are using the free version or the pro version, you are going to have access to all of this shape. you're going to have access to all of this shape. Now the media is where you can get to import any if I click on this now, you can see that I have this shape here. Now I can play with this shape. See, now I can play with it. Alright, so you have these little dots beside them that you can use to you can use to edit them. Let me delete them first. So you can import any shape that you want, and you can import this square. You can this is it. So you can also make use of this shape as the background. Probably you don't want white, you can bring in any shape, and then you can set the color later on. Now you notice that if you add anything, if you add a shape, you can see that this your workspace has changed, right? You can see that the workspace has changed. Now you have something on your timeline. Now I forgot to mention this whole part is what we call the timeline, right? Now this timeline is where everything you are working on, every element you are adding to your video or your animation, that is where you are going to appear. As you can see now the rectangle has appeared in my timeline, right? So I can click on this now. So if I click on it, I will have these guys here. I will have this guy. Now I have color and fill where I can change the color. I need this green and yellow. I can change it to whatever color I want, right? Now you also have the borders and shadow. Now if it is let me reduce it. Okay, let me reduce it. I'm coming. Okay, let me reduce the shape so you see what I'm talking about. Let me reduce the shape like this. Let me use this. So if I come to border and shadow, if I enable this, I can give it different stroke, right? I can give it different stroke depending on what I want. Alright, depending on what I want. So then you can also add more. You can can see you can also add more borders. You can also, now this is where you had the shadow. This is where you had the shadow. Let me enable it. This is where you can see. This is where you had the shadow. The alpha is the what's it called? The brightness. The alpha means the brightness of the shadow you're adding. You can see you have this position. You can also use the screen to position. All right. So it depends on what you want. So now you also have blending and opacity. You have the opacity here. Now you can see the blending is set to normal, darken, multiply, anyone you want. But you don't want to tamper with this. Just go with your normal. We are going to explain this later on. Okay. I think I don't need these guys here. I don't need these guys here. I'll delete it. Then go to whether I need to off this. Alright, so move and transform. Now we have different properties here. Now you can see that there are some tools at the left hand side. I'm not talking about them. I'm still going to talk about them in this video, but for now I'm still sticking to those ones at the right hand side. Right now, if I go to move and transform, now I have this XYZ. XY are automatically interlocked with each other. You can see. Now if I swipe here, you can see swipe here to move layer. If you swipe on this empty space, this layer will move. So you can use this to move it finite. You can move it finely to move your element finely. You can see you also have the guidelines. It is snapping to the guideline. Now that's the work of this first one. Okay. Now you can also move the pivot point. That is the middle, the dot at the middle. If you click on this and if you notice that those XYZ values are off, that means you want to move the middle point. So now the middle point is called a pivot point. So note that. So this you can move it like this. Now the second one is the rotation. You can see now the second one is the rotation. It's the rotation. So the third one is the size. You can also use this guy to increase it like this. You can also use it to decrease it. Now this one is skew, right? To change the perspective. of this. So you can also click on that value themselves and you can edit it. So that is it. So we have not entered the animation stuff, so we are still going to talk about, we are just talking about the basics. So that's why I'm not talking about the guys on the left, because those guys are used for animation. So let's go to edit shape as well. You can also edit it like this. You can see the preset for now, we'll talk about that later, and also the effect. Now let me talk on these guys here. This first one is the speed. You want to increase the speed of the shape, you want to decrease it the way you like it. So now let me explain these guys here. Now this first one, as you can see, what does it do? Now this first one means it is going to trim your timeline, your element. It's going to trim it from the start of the timeline to the point, from the start to the point where the cursor of the timeline is. So you can see that the cursor of the timeline is at 29 seconds. 29 milliseconds rather, because the first 0 is minutes, the second 0 is seconds, then the third one is milliseconds. So you can see now this is at this is 1 second. This is 1 second. So the total of these seconds is just 2 seconds. Now if I place my cursor on 1 second and I want to trim it, I can just hold it like this. I can hold the edges line and I can drag it to this place, but I don't want to do that. I want to do that as quick as possible. I want to trim it from the left. So you use this one. It's going to trim it to the point where you have your where you have your timeline, your cursor timeline is. Now this middle one will split it into two. All right, it's going to split it into two. It's going to place one on the top and place the other one on the bottom, while this one will also trim from the right. So that is majorly everything about that. So let's check for the media. Let me bring in, let me just say bring in this one. You can see it also has the same thing. So I'm coming. I don't know why it's counting this one as shape. Anyhow, okay. So now for you to move, you can also move this timeline, but it has a way you have to move in Alight Motion. Now if you want to move it across your timeline, you hold that layer and you are going to see these numbers. When you see these numbers, you can then move it to wherever you want. You can move it to wherever you want. Now as you can see that as I keep moving, you can see that this timeline was at 2 seconds initially. You can see that it has now been extended to 3 seconds. 3 seconds, 18 milliseconds. You can see. So that is that. So you can make use of this arrangement. Now we want to arrange them layer by layer, right? You want to arrange them layer by layer. So now instead of you clicking directly on this canvas, all you are going to do is you are going to click this right end. This right, you can see this point, you can see my fingertip. You are going to press and hold. So once you press and hold, you will see a line across. So you can now drag it like this. You can see, you can now drag it like this, and then it will appear on whatever you want. So let me bring in another shape. Let me bring in this plus this time. So I'll go to move and transform this guy, increase it like this. So I can put it, I'll just hold at this one, then I'll arrange it, I'll put it behind like this. Can you see now? Can you see? Can you see? So that is it. So you can also bring in audio as well. So you are going to allow access also for your media as well. You are going to allow the access. Now let's go to object and element. Now in separate tutorial, we are going to explain all of these object and element. You are going to explain the camera, we're going to explain the null object, the elements, and the empty group. We are going to explain them one by one, right? So the camera, let me just explain it. The camera, let me just tell you briefly. The camera is just, it's just for you to see your workspace in a camera perspective. right? In the camera perspective. Now, this is with camera, this is without camera. Are you with me? So this is without camera. Now, you can, so anything you are doing here is camera's perspective. You can see when you turn on this is how the camera is looking at your object, and this is how it is not looking at it. So in a separate video, we are going to discuss fully on this camera. It is very, very crucial in our in Alight Motion. Now, null object is like an empty. This one is empty from the name null. An empty it's an empty object, but it is also a very powerful tool in Alight Motion. Empty group element, we are also going to explain that. Now, there's freehand drawing that you can use your hand to draw like that. You can increase the pen size to wherever you want. You can you can make it like this, depending on the pen size you want. So let me just delete this drawing. So you also have the vector drawing. We are also going to talk on the vector drawing too later on, and then we are going to go to the text. So this is where you have your text, so you can add your text as well. So let me change it to black, so it's going to can use it now. 18 pt is 18 points. You can use it to increase your your text. You can see that it is not aligned. It's because of I reduce this guy here, so you can increase this one to make it everything. Now, if you click on this robot regular and if you click on view of fonts, if you are connected to the internet, you see some list of fonts, right? You see some list of fonts in Alight Motion that you can download. And also, if you have fonts on your mobile phone, you can also import them into Alight Motion, like this Clash display. Clash display is not part of Alight Motion font. I have it on my phone, so I imported it into Alight Motion, right? So you can see I have your name here. I can also change the color and feel. You can see everything about this guy. You can make it gradient color if you want. You can click on these buttons. This one is okay. Let me change this guy to this one, or better still this one. You can see. You can also use a picture as the image, right? And you can give it no fill. You can also change the gradient direction as well. So I think I love this one. I love this. So this is just what's it called? This intro to everything. This is just intro to everything you need to know. Now, the last thing that we need to know, which is very, very important, is this effects tab here. So this is where you apply different effects, different sort of effects. So if I click on effects here at the bottom, then add effects. So you will see some effects at the top here. You can see you will see some effects at the top. Now you will see that some effects have an Alight Motion logo at their top right corner. So that means that those effects are pro effects. Alight Motion offers I think 350 or 450 per week. So you are going to be paying 350 or 450 per week for pro for access to the pro version. So, but I have told you that in the recent videos, I'm going to tell you how you can get your pro version without paying a single dime. Now you are going to have this list of effects. So this is your effects browser. You can add different effects to your element. It can either be text, it can be image, it can be video, it can be anything, it can be shape. So color and light, you can see you have different options under color and light. You have long shadow. You want to give it shadow, you want to give it gradient, you want to give it hue and saturation, color, temperature, anything you want. So let me just give it a color. Let me say a long shadow. Let me give it the long shadow. Let me say standard settings. You can see what I have now. You can increase the size. You can change the angle. You can increase the alpha is the so you understand what the alpha means. So because you're going to be seeing much of alpha when we start animating. So this is, you can see the alpha is just like the what's it called, the brightness. Alright, the brightness of it. So you can change the face type to whatever you want. So different, you can play with the effects. So you can add different effects, color and light. The one I love most is I love this what is it called? I think, yeah, text progress. So typing, if I add this type in now, so look at what is going to happen if I play this. You can see I will need to, let me edit the text. So you'll be able to see it properly. So you can see, can you see now? So if I go to, you can also change different things. You can see, you can change the cursor to this. You can change the cursor to anything you want. If it is blinking cursor, you can see it. So let me put it now. You can see. So this is very, very nice. Very nice effects. There are tons of effects that you can give. There's another one, move along. There are different. So by the time we start working with Alight Motion, we start animating, I'm going to discuss more and more on this effect. Alright, I'm going to discuss more and more on this effect. So, and with this this is going to be the end of this tutorial. So this tutorial is just for you to be familiar with the workspace of Alight Motion. So if you find this tutorial helpful, kindly make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, so you are going to be notified when I drop the second part and all other parts of this series. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Recommend this video to your friends and everyone. Tell them about this, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out. Always keep creating.